Welcome to the Let's Talk BS podcast. I'm Bryan.
And I'm Sofia, and we're coming to you live from the
757, where we discuss real estate,
culture, and current events.
What's going on, Sophia? Good morning. How you doing?
Sound like you forgot my name for a second there.
No, I didn't. You was looking around like you was concerned about what was going on. So
I didn't realize that we had started. That's why.
Yeah.
But I am doing well.
That's good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How was I guess your last week since we last recorded? Seemed like it was a long time ago, man.
I know it does. It does.
I feel like a week has been, like multiple weeks, but
yeah. So let me see. Obviously, volleyball has been the forefront of my evenings.
Okay.
And last weekend, I actually got my nose pierced.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Where you see? I only see it.
I took it out.
Oh, why you take it out for?
Because I got it pierced in the wrong spot, and it was kind of weird. It looked good, but it just wasn't in the spot that I wanted, and I could have waited and waited till I was able to get my new ring and put it in, and I was like, nah, I don't want that. I'm just gonna take it out, heal, and then go back and get it done in the right place.
So why? Hold on. So I got many questions. Now. So, all right. First off, you got your nose pierced. Don't they ask you where you want it before you get your nose pierced?
And I chose the wrong spot.
Okay. So it's not like they messed up, like, oh, snap, like it wasn't like that. It was, you picked the spot and then now you just seen it and you didn't like it after how you saw it.
Correct.
Oh, okay,
because when they put the dot on me, I have freckles, right? So the shit just blended in with my freckles.
Okay.
I think that's kind of like how it
transpired. So then my next question is, where was it? And then where
There's
do you want it to be?
There's a hole in my nose. You see it? It's
I do see it. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So where do you want it to be?
So okay.
The other side of the nose?
No. So there's a big freckle right here. You see it somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So same amount back, or I don't even know. It's not length back, but then just scooted over a little bit right underneath that big freckle.
Okay.
So it's not even...
You want closer to the middle of your nose? Kind of?
Well, just not too far over to my face. I don't know.
Okay.
However you want to look at that.
Yeah, I got you.
But yeah, it was a tad bit too much to the right. I just need to bring it in just a little bit. I mean, you're talking like this much space of how much.
That's why I'm surprised. I guess.
When the ring was in, it really did look like it was just in a place that didn't make sense. Let me show you. Let me show you the video. Look at this. You see it? How it looks so far over?
I can see what you mean now.
Yeah, see?
Because you can't even really see it for real.
You can't.
In the front.
Yeah, it's like too far over.
Got you.
See, guys, look. I don't know if you can see that, but...
Yeah, they probably can't.
It just kind of looked... Yeah, it looked a little too far over. So, I took it out. I went back. They took it out for me. I mean, it's healing perfectly. You can't even tell. Obviously, you can't even tell. I mean, I just took it out yesterday.
Gotcha.
So, it looks good. It's healing right.
Did it hurt when they did the piercing?
No. I was actually surprised because I have piercings. And...
Oh. No, I'm sorry. The way you did your hand and said piercings, that...
Because I didn't want to go through and be like, yeah, I got this, but I have them. And that one actually didn't hurt as much as I thought it would.
Gotcha.
Not at all. But let's put it like this. A tattoo hurts worse.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a tattoo is more of a constant thing. To me, a piercing is just like, whoop.
Yeah, but still. I mean, on the level of, I understand that the tattoo is something that has longevity. I get that. But it still hurt. It still has
it does.
Yeah. The nose was just kind of like, it hurt less than a shot.
Okay.
And it was a whole piercing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It didn't hurt.
What did you get? Where'd you go get it pierced at?
Body Bar.
Body Bar. Where's that at?
It's in Lynn Haven Mall.
Oh, it's in the mall. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yep. So it was pretty cool. I got it done. I had it in. And then I said, you know what? This isn't the spot. I'm just going to get it re-pierced later and go from there. But anyway, so after that, stopped at like a thrift store, went through there, looked at some things, didn't really get nothing, but did it. And let me see, more volleyball. my son got sent home because he threw up in the classroom.
Mm.
And that was...
Was he okay? Would he eat something bad or something? Or was he sick?
Yeah, so yeah, he probably, I don't know. I had made some strawberries one morning and I didn't have baking soda, so I cleaned them with a little bit of vinegar. And I think that maybe the vinegar kind of made his stomach a little sour. Maybe. I don't know. But he ended up throwing up at school as soon as he got in the classroom. So they called me. But I was kind of upset at the nurse because when she called, I was asking questions like any parent would do. You're like, well, what happened? How did it go about? And she just was like so rude. So I took her name, and then when I went up to the school, I had to check her.
You had to check her. So what does that consist of? What does checking the nurse consist of? Like verbally check her?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
I would just leave it there.
Okay.
She had to be checked.
Okay. Okay.
But basically, to sum it up, I told her, I said, I don't know how you treat the other parents, but you will give me respect, and I'm going to give you the same. If I ask questions about my son, I expect for you to give me answers. Gotcha. And that was that.
Okay.
I mean, I did nothing more, nothing less. I wasn't disrespectful.
Okay.
But yeah.
Cool.
And she told me, I'm sorry that you feel that way. So, okay, I'll take that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was a dig, but
yeah, I'm about to say
I don't like when people say that.
Me neither. I was gonna say when people say I'm sorry that you feel that way, I feel like they're not acknowledging their role in the situation.
Correct.
They're just saying, you know, your feelings aren't valid in this scenario. At least I don't agree with how your feelings
Correct.
are.
And
but it's
said,
hard. It's hard
okay.
to kind of comment back when people say that. They just say, like, make you feel like, hey, you just bugging.
That's okay. You know what I mean? I said, well, thank you. I thanked her for being sorry and however she could be.
Yeah.
And that was that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so after that, let's see. Again, more volleyball. Look, all I can think about is every day is volleyball. This, volleyball, that.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Kind of chill. Oh, and then I went to the oceanfront. I had lunch with my homegirl at the deck. So that was
sweet. Okay.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And I actually did that maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago too. Went and had lunch at the deck. Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. Let me think. For me, what I do last week, my son had his football game on Saturday. They won. They did really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah, so he scored twice. He had, I told him this year, because last year he did really good offensive wise, but he to me, he could have did better grabbing flags. So this year, I told him, we were going to count how many flags he got per game. And he had 3 flags this past game, so he did very well there.
That's good.
Then after that, we went to the kids' school. So they had this thing, they call it a picnic, but it was kind of almost like a carnival fair. You know, they had the dunk tanks. They had face painting. They had the egg run when you put an egg on a spoon and try to go and come back or whatever. They had music and all that. So it was cool. And Saturday was actually gorgeous. Saturday. It was really nice.
It was. That's when I went to the deck. It was really nice, especially out on the beach. Yeah.
Yeah. It was real nice. So we went there. It was cool. My son, because everything was for fundraising. They had the book fair going on as well. So we went to the library, got a couple books. Both of the kids wanted some, so we got a couple of those. And it was funny because the dunk tank, you paid $5 to get 4 balls to throw and hit the little thing. I guess the dunks the person that's sitting there, and they had all the faculty would kind of trade off sitting in the dunk tank. So it was funny because my son, he threw the ball 4 times and he dunked the person 3 out of the 4 times, which was really, really cool. Because we were in line waiting and a lot of other people were throwing, they were missing. Because it's kind of hard to hit that little small thing. And you have to hit it with the velocity of it to actually, drop the person into the water. And he made it 3 out of 4 times. Everybody else we watched, most people didn't hit it at all. Some people may have gotten it once out of the 4 and he hit it 3 out of the 4 times. So that was pretty cool.
Could the parents do it or just the kids?
It was just the kids.
Oh, okay,
yeah, just the kids were doing it. Yeah, I don't know if they could have, but I didn't see any parents doing it. It was just all the kids doing it.
Okay.
So that was cool. The rest of the weekend is kind of chilled.
Did you go to the Hurrah event?
Nah, I didn't. I didn't go to the Hurrah event. Then let me see. This week, just been pretty busy with a whole bunch of meetings. It's the end of the month, so just trying to get a couple of loans that I got going to the finish line. Got to close them today and 2 tomorrow. Yesterday we had an event, which was pretty cool. So there's a real estate group that or brokerage that I recently have a partnership set up with called Opulent Realty. They're actually located on the other side of the water. And one of my buddies, he just recently opened up a restaurant in Virginia Beach. And so to kind of like support his restaurant and support the partnership that we had them come out to the restaurant and just kind of had like some food and some drinks and kind of kick it. And so that was really cool. It was a really good time. It was last night. It was supposed to be from like 6 to 8. But I mean, we ended up staying till like 9 o'clock last night, which is like way later than what I normally do, especially on a weekday, you know. But it was cool. Everybody had a really good time. And one thing I'll say, which I appreciate from her, her name is Kit. She's the broker there, is that like the participation. So she has like, I think like 10 or 12 agents on her brokerage, and literally everybody showed up. And I know normally it ain't like that. Normally you get maybe 30% at best. Sometimes 50 is really good. You know, all the events that we've done, you know, Sophia, over the years, and just in general, you know, normally you get about a half participation, especially on a weekday in the middle of the week. And a lot of them are coming from so far of a distance. Right. So I was really appreciative of that. But the restaurant was nice. Is it? It's actually right there near the outlets. So if you know Northampton, no, Virginia Beach. It's Virginia. It's Virginia Beach. Yeah, yeah. So it's, you know, that line where that outlets is Norfolk, Virginia Beach area. But it's considered Virginia Beach, right down off of Wesleyan, right there, literally a mile or two from where the outlets are. Okay. But it was cool, man. We had like they had like salmon sliders. They had jerk lamb chops with like rasta pasta. That's what I had. It was really, really good. They had like Brussels sprouts, like wings. They had oxtail empanadas and stuff, man, because it was a Caribbean flair. So most of the food kind of had like a little spice, a little kick to it or whatever. But it was really nice decor, nice setup. And my buddy Mike, who owns the restaurant, his last name is Green. He allowed us to use what's called the green room. So you have like a room in the back where you can have like private meetings, like bookshelf cases that open up. I always thought that was cool. Like just, you know, watching movies growing up, I always thought that was really sweet. Yeah. And so he allowed us to share that, you know, that space or whatnot. So that was pretty cool. Last time, I'm already getting text messages this morning. Everybody, you know, thanking, you know, me for putting on the event or whatnot. So it was cool, man. Outside of that, that's pretty much, I guess, it, I would say, for this week. I hadn't played golf at all this week, which this is probably the latest into the week that I can remember in recent memory that I haven't played golf. Right. I took my son out Sunday, so we played Sunday. That's what we always do. But as far as like, we're on Thursday now, and I hadn't played at all this week, so I'm itching to play. I'll probably try to play tomorrow. I think it's supposed to rain tomorrow, so we'll see.
Well, that's it's been raining a lot here lately. It has. Yeah. So that makes sense as to why you haven't been playing. Yeah. Otherwise, you'd have been out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been busy though. I've been real busy. That's the thing too. Like, like I said, with everything we got going on, I've been pretty busy. Where, you know, I normally would try to make time for. I just haven't been able to make time for. But tomorrow I have a light load, so I'm gonna try to make some time if it doesn't rain tomorrow. Nice. So another thing though, that's right. Something I forgot to mention is I remember I mentioned last week we put the house that we're building in Virginia Beach and Ocean Lakes on the market on Friday of last week, and literally over the weekend got an offer. And I mean, it was better than what we could ask for, you know. And so it's a military couple that the husband is getting ready to go to. I think he's getting ready to go out to. He's a pilot, so I don't know if they consider go out to sea or whatever you call it, but you know, they were trying to get in, immediately have cash, so they were like, "Yo, let's do it." And so they're like, it's funny. So they called and they were like, "Hey, what do we need to do to lock this up?" Because we timed it up because we were getting like, you know, multiple showings, and we timed it up so people could like be there at the same time, so they can kind of see there's other people interested in the house or whatever. And so they were like, "Yeah, we've seen the activity in the house or whatnot." And so they were like, "What can we do to lock it up right then and there?" And so, you know, we had conversations about it, and they gave us everything we wanted. So I was excited. So I'm excited about that because that was quick. That was probably probably the quickest property we've ever had. We put on the market literally the next day we got under contract. So that was cool. And let me see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it this past week. Yeah.
Sounds like a lot though.
Yeah. Always busy. That's why, like I said, I ain't playing no golf yet. Always busy. Mm-hmm.
So, I know that we typically get into some mortgage business next, and I feel like we got a lot to talk about today when it comes to mortgage. There's some things that we've both been seeing with our current pipeline, but one thing that I wanted to touch base on today, most importantly, was occupancy. That has been the biggest hurdle that I've been going through in this past week.
Okay.
Just kind of understanding what it means and what occupancy means, right?
Okay.
So I have someone who is moving from overseas. They're a military person, and they don't want to utilize the VA loan because they have a considerable amount for a down payment, and so with that, they don't have to pay. When you go to when you use some of the loan products where you're making a large down payment, you get a better rate, right? So it just so happens that for them, it was better to go conventional, right? And so the dilemma is that with conventional, right? If you're living in a house, you have to move into this property within 60 days, and that's not going to be the case for them. Yeah. So there is a such thing, and I wanted to point this out, that when you purchase a house and you don't plan on moving in that property within the next 60 days, but let's say in 4 months you plan to live in that property, you can purchase that house as a second home, even if your plan is to make that your primary. But because of all the guidelines that are set for these different loan programs, technically on paper, that is considered a second home. So we just wanted to make sure that we touch base and let you guys know that, because that's huge, right? Yeah. If you're not living in that house within 60 days, the lender does look at that.
Yeah. Look, I mean, you got to think about it. I understand the thought behind it is you're buying a house and then it's just going to be sitting there with no one there. So, there could be some type of leak that could happen. That nobody's there to catch, early.
Absolutely.
I mean, it could be, anything could happen to the house, right? A storm could come through.
Yep.
Whatever. I don't know. Something can break and catch on fire in the house or some sort or whatnot. So, that is the thought process of they want the house to be occupied, in a certain amount of time, for it to be deemed a primary residence.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Correct. And so another occupancy type that we talk about is the investment property. And the investment property pretty much just states that you don't ever have to live in it, right? And so that's when you get a lot of people that are renting the house, Airbnb the house. Yep. What other platforms? I can't even think of the other ones, but they're out there, basically short-term rentals, right? And so when you have that occupancy type, there is no restraint. Yeah. I mean, you can buy the house, but you are putting a large amount down. So you're putting down somewhere between 15 and 25%, depending on how many units that property has, right?
So you have more skin in the game.
You do.
The bank, or the lending institution, when it comes to that situation, typically on a primary residence, you're not having to put as much money down or any money down, depending on the program. Mm-hmm. And so obviously that's why the occupancy, as we mentioned, the 60-day and all that's important, because the bank is fully out there when it comes to what they're lending and what you're putting into the equation. But when you have a second home, which requires a 10% down payment, and you have, like you said, an investment property, which is, minimum 15%, you have more skin in the game. So, if something were to happen, there's a way to kind of recoup, at least from the lending standpoint, because you have that amount invested into the situation. So
absolutely. Yeah. So they think of it as the more money you put down, the less risk.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. Ultimately, that's the mindset.
Yeah.
Well, I had someone who reached out to me who was a VA buyer, and they said, hey, I heard that I can use my VA home loan again, which is absolutely true, right? You can use your VA home loan more than once. You can actually have 2 homes under your VA home loan program. But there is a difference with you buying a house, right? Living in it. And then let's say you PCS somewhere, and then for some reason you have to come back to where you started, right? But you need a house, but the old house is being rented. Then in that case, the VA is like, okay, yeah, you can go ahead and buy another primary residence, because now the house that you once lived in, you had to rent that out, and now you need a new place to live, right? Mm-hmm. That's no problem. But you can never go into it buying a house as an investment property using your VA loan.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But there is a such thing as house hacking. So let's say you're a young VA buyer and you want to buy a duplex, right? You can live in one side and rent out the other. That's what they call house hacking. So then when you get a family or when you want to upgrade, now you're moving out of your duplex. Those two can become rentals, and then you can move into a bigger home and make that your primary residence. But it's rare that the lender is going to allow you to buy a $500,000 home and then you turn around and say, hey, well, now I want to buy a duplex.
Correct. Yeah, using
right?
your VA loan. Yeah.
Using your VA loan,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because they're looking at that from a standpoint of you are trying to possibly make an investment.
Yeah.
And you can't use the VA loan as with the intention of it being an investment property. So you got to be careful as to how you're moving about when you're going about this, right?
Correct. Yeah, and another thing I'll mention too, because Sophia mentioned like the duplex scenario, but you also have people out here that I know that I've helped over the years when it comes to like house hacking. Is you don't necessarily even have to buy a duplex. You can buy, a condo, a townhouse, single family home, buy it,
triplex,
live in it,
quad.
Yeah, you could buy it, live in it for a year, and then next year buy something else.
Right.
Live in that for a year, and then buy something else.
Yep.
Like you could continuously, do that process and continuously use your VA loan as much as you like. Obviously, depending on how much entitlement you have, right?
Right.
So that's another way of going about it, where and then the way that you do that, each time you do that, as long as you get a renter into your departure residence, and then you actually show it on your tax return that, hey, you're renting the property, every time that new purchase happens, you could actually use that rent amount that you're renting the property for to offset the mortgage payment. So that's something that I kind of lead into what I was going to mention, that I had a good conversation with a client this past week where, they didn't realize that, hey, because they live in a home now and they want to buy another home. They have a pretty large home that they raised their family in. They had, I think, 4 or 5 children. I went to school actually with one of them. And so they all are out the house now and it's just them. Mm-hmm. And so they're looking to try to get something a little bit more smaller, moderate for
probably.
them.
Yeah.
So, but they were under the impression that, they're going to have to qualify with the mortgage that they currently have and the new mortgage and the debts that they currently have. And their plan is to rent out the property. They're like, hey, they want to keep it. They're going to eventually just leave it to their kids because it's a nice size home. Their kids can always use that as home base. And so I was able to have the conversation with them and explain to them that, hey, you could actually rent out your departure resident and we can utilize that rent amount to cover your current mortgage. So now when it comes to what you qualify on this new purchase, all we're really looking at is what that new mortgage payment is going to be and then also what your current debts are. And so they were like, wow, because they were kind of, minimizing because they know how much money they make. Because they were like, hey, we're only going to qualify for a certain amount because we got to qualify with both mortgages. And I was telling them like, hey, as long as you plan on renting it and we can have a lease and we can show that, hey, that the amount that you're renting for is comparable to what it normally rents for those types of homes in that area. Yeah, we can offset that mortgage payment and it'll essentially wipe it out and not have it count against your new debt to income ratio. Absolutely. And so that moment was like, wow, that was really powerful for them. And so then I was able to give them how much they were pre-approved for, which is even more than they were anticipating. So they're, out now looking at homes, and that's something that I feel like, the people I'm talking about are like my parents' age. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that I feel like a lot of people, especially in that generation, just aren't aware of, mm-hmm. And so just having that conversation, with them was pretty, refreshing and enlightening to them. And so definitely want to make sure that everyone out there knows that, if you plan on keeping the property, you can always utilize that rent to offset the mortgage payment, and it won't now count against your new debt to income. So it's just like you're buying a house from, not having a monthly obligation of payment at all when it comes to your mortgage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking of rent is high.
Yeah.
I just I have a neighbor that has their house on the market right now to be rented, and it's going for $3,000 a month.
Wow.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I can't even imagine paying $3,000 a month for a rental. Like,
yeah.
I hope you guys aren't out there doing that. Like, you need to buy if that's the case.
Yeah.
Like, that is absolutely insane. $3,000. Like, my mortgage is half of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I did buy the house years and years ago. I bought that house when I was in my 20s, but still, like $3,000 a month. And I mean, we don't see rents coming down anytime soon.
No, they're not.
So
yeah, I was just having a conversation with
something
Brooke.
has to.
Yeah, I mean, because we're at that point now where we're looking at this. One of our things we're going to do this weekend is the rental property we have. You know, most of the leases are starting. They're for the calendar year. They're from like January 1 to December 31st. And so we were saying, hey, this weekend what we're going to tackle is kind of just assessing all of the properties that we have and the rent amounts, and then seeing, you know, are we going to increase the rent, you know, for the properties, because we're at that time where, you know, you kind of got to give the tenants, you know, give them a heads up, because we're pretty much 90 days out from when their lease are getting ready to expire. So that's something that we're going to tackle this weekend. And yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, rents are high. I mean, they're extremely high. I mean, I can only imagine, because like what you just said, my mortgage is actually a little over, it's right at $3,000. It's like 3,000 and some change. So it's like, I can only imagine like what my house would rent for, because I'm assuming, I never looked it up, but I'm assuming it'd probably be, you know, more than what
look it up.
Yeah, I mean,
try it. Look it up. You'll be surprised. You'll be like, wait,
that's
I need to move and rent this one out.
Rent it out. Yeah. But the thing about it though, too, like you just said,
just kidding.
No. I'm saying the thing about it though is like, I wonder how many, like, what's the demographic of people who are actually going to rent that type of property? Like, what are people doing that are in that scenario? You know what I mean? I can imagine. Let's say my property can rent for $4,000, right? Just put a number out there.
Right.
Like, how many people are actually out here looking to rent places?
You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. Like, some people rent because they know that whatever situation they're going to be in is temporary. Some people do that, right?
Oh, for sure.
Not saying that that's a good thing, because you can rent it and I mean, you could buy it, temporary live in it, and then rent it yourself. But then some people just don't have that mindset, or some people just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Which is good. If you know deep down inside that you don't want to deal with being a homeowner, please do that. Because you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you know that you're going to foreclose or you're going to default or whatever the case may be. If you deep down inside know that you can't really handle it, because there are people out there that just can't handle that type of pressure. But I couldn't imagine paying $4,000, $5,000, $6,000.
Yeah, me neither.
I couldn't imagine it. Not at all.
Yeah, it's funny. I seen guy, my buddy Aaron. He's in insurance, and he had posted on Facebook. He was like, "What was your first amount that you paid in rent?" Like, and so everybody was just like chiming in, like commenting.
Oh, that's actually a good question. You know, what was yours? I think mine was $350.
Yeah. So the first place I ever rented, it was a townhouse. Actually, we're in Town Center. It's not too far from here. It's on Bonnie Road. And matter of fact, the guy that I just mentioned to you that I went to his wedding, he was one of my roommates and my other buddy Gerard. So we had a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhouse, and the rent amount was $1,100. And so,
oh wow,
yeah. So, but it was 3 of us, so we all split it. And so I actually had the master bedroom, and my rent I think was $350 or $400. I think it was $400. And then and then the second size bedroom, Gerard had, and he paid $350. And then the smallest bedroom, my buddy Myron had, and he paid $300. And so that's kind of how it all was divvied up. But it was a nice, like, it was a house. You could, to this day, people could like raise a family in, you know what I mean? But we all had our own, I guess you could say, like, bedroom and own thing of the house or whatever. So it was only, I paid $400.
Yeah. So mine was $350 or $400. It was something like that. And I remember looking at it. I remember it was, so I didn't live on campus my first year of college. I lived off campus.
Okay.
And I wanted
it
to be that way.
You then. This was in college. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I knew that I didn't want to live on campus. I don't know why, but I just didn't. Anyway, so got this apartment. It was close to campus, but it wasn't campus housing. But I guess they catered to a lot of college.
Because it's probably right there.
It was like right there. Yeah. Like I was like 5 minutes down the street, if that. But yeah, my rent was super cheap. I remember like it was yesterday. I was like, "Woo! I wish I could get rent like this." I mean, well, obviously I wouldn't rent anything, but I wish rent was, you know.
So I'm just thinking like that same house now. Imagine what it rent for. Like, I'm sure it got to be double that. I'm sure it got to be like over $2,000. That same townhouse. Maybe, I don't know.
I tried to go back and look at what the apartments were renting for today, but I couldn't remember the name of them.
Yeah. I could probably drive past I mean, I can get the address and look it up.
Yeah.
I don't remember the address offhand.
Yeah.
But that is wild when you think about it, you know.
Yeah. And now, honestly, I wonder, have you guys ever thought about, well, not you, but the audience, have you guys ever thought about like buying a house with 2 families in the house?
Yeah, that's actually like a thing. I've met
like, what if you guys got like a 4,000 square foot house or a 5,000 square foot house, right? But then you have 2 families or 3 families living in this house, almost like an apartment, and you get it where it's like wings at the house.
Yeah, no,
I think that would be dope.
Yeah, I've met in the last maybe like 6 months. I've met 3 different families or couples, however you want to call them, that were looking for that specific type of thing because they know I do I do new construction, and they were asking me like, do I know a builder who builds houses like that? Because because of things getting really expensive, like it was actually 2 girlfriends. Like it was a girl. They were like,
they were best friends.
They were best friends.
They
had their own family, but you could tell like they were like, they met with me. Their husbands weren't even there. They met with me, and they were like the one running point when it comes to trying to get this set up. Yeah. And they were like, hey, we're looking for X, Y, and Z or whatnot, and so yeah, I and they told me like, hey, it's just because of the cost of living, like they want to merge their lives together. They're around each other all the time, I guess is what she said, and so it just makes sense to do that. Their kids are always around each other. So I was like, wow, I was just kind of shocked.
I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily do that like now, right? Because I already own. But I could see myself considering it if I was in a situation where I couldn't afford a mortgage on my own, but I wanted something nice, right? Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, people did this indirectly a long time ago. It was always it wasn't a norm, but generations in the same household has always been a thing, right? Mm-hmm. You always had a grandmother, the mother, and then her kids. They all lived in the house. So why not buy a house together?
Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, yeah, I get it.
Especially when you got your parents that, like, if my parents was still living today, I think that if they were, let's say 70, 80, I wouldn't put them in a nursing home. I would just have them come live with me.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I know from me, my parents, if they ever, when they get to that point where, they need help daily, I have, my house is set up for that to be done right now. Anyway, I do have a downstairs bedroom where my parents can kind of still do their thing, and even Brooke's parents as well. But yeah, that's, I don't know. I'm just trying to think about like, because I like my privacy, man. Like I'm not talking about my parents, the aspect of that, of helping them, but just like what we were saying initially, like combining households with somebody, even though we're like really, really close. Yeah. Like I don't know if I could ever do that, man. Yeah. Like, that's just not in my blood to do that. Yeah. But I get the thought process.
The thought process is,
and I've seen it become more of a trend because I've seen literally before the last 6 months, I haven't had any conversation with anybody attempting to do that. Now I've had it 3 times in the last 6 months. So obviously it is a thing and people are searching for.
It might be a new thing, y'all. Yeah. Might want to consider it. It's not a forever thing. Yeah. It just might be a right now thing.
Yeah. But to me, that's just too many. I mean, even though I guess the house, I guess it really has to be separated because you just got, that's too many people, too many, like, there's too much going on, too much personality, there's too much going on, especially to my kids too, like people who have kids, like, it's just a lot. That's a lot. And honestly, to build something like that, I'm looking at it, shoot, by the time you build it, you might as well just have your own individual house because that's going to cost a lot of money to build. If you're really truly trying to have two separate lives going on.
I'm not saying like we need to have, I'm not talking about a situation where you have to go out and build the house of your dreams to be set up that way. That's not what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying buy a house that has a big enough space to where, let's say most of these bigger homes, right, have a den, a living, and some other like, what you call your room? A man cave, right? So if you have 3 different living areas like that, right, you could easily designate each family to have their own living space, right? You share a kitchen. Okay, great. So what? Everybody got to eat. You go eat, right? And then everybody had their own bathroom and bedroom. It could be done.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like the kitchen gonna have to be like
It would
humongous
obviously.
because you got all them people. Like, it doesn't matter how much food that kitchen gonna have to hold for all those people
That's
in
okay.
the house. I'm just,
I mean,
I don't know. I'm just saying.
you make it work.
Yeah, you're right.
You get a deep freezer.
Yeah, you're right. You got to
Maybe
get
two.
You got to get more than one.
Maybe two.
Yeah, you're right.
And then you just pull from there, bring it to the refrigerator. You know.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you think about it, a lot of these apartments have small refrigerators anyway.
Yeah.
They're tiny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So
yeah. It's funny, matter of fact, too, the speaking of refrigerator, the buyer who I got under contract this weekend, that was one of their stipulations was they wanted a refrigerator that had the freezer at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like a big deal to them. So like I immediately text my builder and I was like, hey, can you do this? And he was like, well, yeah, it's gonna cost you like $500 more. And I'm like, okay, well, hold on, I'm gonna see if they can pay for that. But then he sent me I'll pull up the text, but he sent me
another refrigerator that was $500 less.
Yeah, he did. So I guess they were like on special. See, look.
No, special.
Yeah, so they were like on sale. I guess it was initially normally $26.99, and they were down to $7. Okay. So basically, right at the difference, actually a little bit
Where's
less.
Where's that? That looked like Lowe's.
Yeah, I believe that.
Okay, Lowe's got refrigerators on sale, y'all.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, this was this weekend, so
this past weekend.
Yeah, this was this weekend. So I don't know how long it was, but yeah, they were adamant about the freezer being at the bottom. Like when it comes to like freezers for you, do you have a preference or do you?
Yeah, I like my freezer on the bottom.
You do? Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
What about you? You don't care?
Yeah, I don't care, but my freezer is on the bottom. I do like it.
Okay.
So I guess I don't
well,
I don't know.
You gonna go shopping for freezers on the top ever? So if this refrigerator go out, what you going to look for?
I'm gonna look for the exact same thing I got.
Exactly.
I like it.
So you like freezers on the bottom?
Yeah, but I guess I'm saying like I didn't pay attention to it. I guess that makes sense. Like I just like the one we bought, and at the time when we bought it, I didn't like, I gotta have a freezer at the bottom type of thing. You know what I mean? I was really just looking for, one that had enough storage. Right. And I guess the ones that freezer at the bottom had the most storage most of the time. I guess so.
Yeah. I don't know, but I know when I go to people's house and they have the side by side, it's so weird looking in those now.
Okay.
When I have to go to someone's house and you have to open up one door, then you got to open up the other door.
Yeah.
It's weird to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to like pulling back my thing, and then I got like my freezer has a divider at the bottom, so I have two different sides, right?
Me too.
One side I put the meat, one side I put all the frozen stuff, right? Then I have a drawer. Then on top of that, I have another drawer, and the middle drawer is kind of deep. So let's just say I get, the family pack of chicken at the grocery store. Mm-hmm. I could put two of those on top of each other in the drawer, right? And then on the very top shelf, I can only put one, right? If I had to stack it. But yeah, I got a pretty decent sized freezer. So when I open up someone's freezer that has like the full length, it's like those little shelves, it's like almost no room.
I'm trying to think. I mean, honestly, I don't be opening up other people's freezers. To be honest with you. But
I've had to, like, let's say I'm there and I'm trying to.
The only time I did that recently was my parents. I went to my parents' house, but they have the same thing we do. We have a freezer at the bottom.
Anytime I open up someone's freezer, guys, I'm an ice eater, right? So 9 times out of 10, I'm getting ice, right? Mm-hmm. And so sometimes what happens is in those refrigerators, the ice gets stuck.
Yeah.
That you have to open up the freezer to like open up the thing to move the ice.
I had to do that this weekend. I'll make myself a little drink watching football. I'm getting I like to get crushed ice, or whatever. So I was getting crushed ice, and you're right, I guess it was trying to chop it up, and it was chopping.
It won't chop it, so you gotta go in there give it a
little kick. Around, a little wiggle, a little wiggle.
So that's the only time that I would go in someone's freezer, unless it's someone that I'm really, really close to.
Yeah.
Then of course, I'm probably cooking or something, but yeah. So these refrigerators. Look, we went on a tandem about refrigerators.
We did. We definitely did. So what else has been going on? We just talked about mortgage, real estate. What else has been going on just in the world, or things that we've anything funny, anything that you've seen come up recently?
Listen, Diddy still in the news. Did you hear Suge Knight's he called from jail and they did an interview and he just was basically saying how like
Suge Knight is in jail right now.
Isn't that the guy who?
Yeah, I hadn't heard about his name and why I didn't know if he was in jail or what he was doing.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's his name, Suge Knight, the big dude.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's scared of in the industry. Yeah, him.
I just didn't know he was in jail.
He was talking about how he was surprised that nobody is standing up for Diddy. And then I saw some clips of like remember Rosie O'Donnell? Remember her?
Oh yeah. She had this Rosie O'Donnell show. That was like a huge,
no, not Rosie. Is it Rosie O'Donnell?
Hugely popular show.
Yeah, I think that's her when she was younger. And she was interviewing TLC and she said
Rosie
something.
O'Donnell. So which you talking about, Rosie Perez or Rosie O'Donnell? Rosie O'Donnell is a Caucasian woman who had a TV show and it was like her family show. It was always
correct, but I think so. This is I feel bad because this is when she was younger. So I think it's her. I really do. I think it's her.
I'm about to Google.
But it's an interview that someone did.
Okay.
and they were interviewing TLC. And they mentioned, yeah, that's her.
Okay.
They mentioned the Diddy party back in the 90s.
Rosie O'Donnell, she's Diddy's former neighbor, it says right here.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it
Maybe.
says. Yeah, so I don't know if that's what you were going, but go ahead.
No, she interviewed TLC.
Okay.
And back then, obviously, because it was Left Eye and, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And she mentioned something about Diddy's party and they like giggled about it. And I was like, damn, everybody had been knowing about Diddy parties since the 90s. Like, what's been going on at these parties? Then I saw something else where he had beds in his basketball court. Like, he had literal, like, king-size beds in the basketball area of his house. I was like, that's kinky shit.
Yeah.
But obviously, I don't know if it's AI generated. This is just what I'm seeing on social media. Yeah. I mean, it could be fake because some things out there that look real.
Yeah.
And it's really
right
fake.
now, I mean, people on the internet, man, I mean, because of things are like, they call it sensational right now with Diddy's situation. It's sensational with everybody talking about it. Like, people are definitely taking advantage of it, being able to try to get clicks and likes and views and stuff. So they're, cropping stuff and putting stuff or whatever. But at the same time, I mean, all this stuff coming out is, like I said, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. I hope, I guess we're going to find out soon. I mean, I don't know when his actual court date is or whatever. I'm assuming it's got to be probably in the next couple months. So I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more come out once, depositions are starting to happen and people, the different attorneys are going to start having conversations and all that. And so, yeah, this is wild, man. This is definitely wild.
Yeah, it is. I'm trying to see what else came out. It was something on the Shade Room that I saw. Let me see. That I thought was funny. I should have wrote it down. Oh, Shannon Sharp.
Okay.
Did you see the video when Shannon, I think his Facebook went live?
I did. Well, did I see I did see that. They posted in I got a group chat. That's all they posted. Crazy stuff. Yeah. My man was he was getting it on.
He was knee deep in
it. Yeah. He was getting it on. He was saying the girl Michelle, I think her name was, or something like that. And I to kind of say the story. So it was funny, man. So his IG, his Instagram, went live. Yes, okay, Instagram went live, and all you could see is just like the wall or the floor or something like that. Yeah. And then you could hear though him having relations with
somebody named Michelle or
so
Michelle or something.
So he was talking like when you get it on, he was talking to her, and it was funny because I guess like right when it happened, he immediately came out and was like he was hacked, and he was saying like it wasn't him or whatever. But then like immediately later on that evening, he admitted like, yeah, that really was the situation or whatever. Yeah. And then like it's crazy because then you all of a sudden like that happened, and because people heard the person's name that he was saying,
to go and look at the followers.
Yeah, and I think from my understanding, they did find the girl that it was. Like
that's so funny.
like I'm just like, yo, how do you like this whole like investigation, like how do you like do that? Like I don't know, man. But they went found.
I'm that person.
Yeah, they went and
I
found
could go find some stuff
of
that
her
I
name.
really want to know.
Off of her name, I don't know what they did, but they found who it was, and I heard like, you know, she was owning it or whatever. But yeah, and I guess there was rumors about him potentially losing his job or whatever. But I guess ESPN, because that's where he works at. They said that, you know, they weren't gonna take any action against him in that way. So
yeah, but the funny, so out of the part that I saw that was hilarious was when Chad Ochocinco said, "Man, buddy, we need to get you in the gym. You be out there, you be in the weight room. You need to be doing a little bit of cardio." And so that part to me was hilarious. And I remember when I was in Florida, living in Florida, I've actually met Chad before, a few times actually, when I worked inside of a bank. And he's hilarious, just like he is on the podcast. That's like his real personality.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could tell. Some people, like, you know, you could just tell that are naturally just goofy and funny.
Yeah.
And when he played football, that was his personality. Yeah. He was always talking, always saying outlandish stuff. So that's, I mean, I could tell that wasn't an act. You could tell that's who he truly was.
It's just hilarious. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. So I've been watching this show on Hulu. It's called Reasonable Doubt.
Okay.
And they just came out with their second season. And what's his name? He played in The Best Man. He was a football player. Morris Chestnut.
Mm-hmm.
Morris Chestnut. He's doing a good job. Let's just say that.
Good job. What does that mean?
His acting is impeccable.
Okay.
I like Morris Chestnut as an actor, and I really like the show. So, guys, you should definitely check out Reasonable Doubt on Hulu. It's actually pretty good. And it's in the second season.
Speaking of shows, did you check out Selling Sunset?
I did.
You watched the newest one?
I did.
Yeah, I finally.
They got so much drama. They couldn't even have the thing that they do afterwards to talk it out.
Oh yeah, the reunion.
Yeah, they couldn't even have a reunion.
That's right. They didn't have a reunion.
No,
did they? Yeah,
they couldn't because it was too much drama. So what do you think? Do you think that? I don't even know her name. What's the girl's name who got a baby with Nick Cannon?
Bree.
Do you think Bree is wrong for telling her?
No.
On the show? Because that was the issue. The issue wasn't that she told her. She just felt like it shouldn't have been done on camera. So
no, I guess
it was like she waited until they started filming to actually put it out there.
See, I didn't. Again, I only know what is put in front of me, right? So.
Well, it was. They talked about it.
Yeah, no. What I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying. So I don't know exactly like chronological order stuff, whatever. But what it looked like and what was said. The girl Chelsea. So Chelsea, you know, I guess word about her husband was he was doing stuff. He was messing around, right? Mm-hmm. So it was a girl. I forget. I think her name's Ashley, if I'm not mistaken. The girl Ashley called Bree when Bree was with Emma and Chriselle. She called her, was like, "Hey, I got some tea," and so she like, you know, we need to meet up, talk about it. The way that it was presented in that moment, it didn't look like Bree knew what the tea was. It was just like, "Hey, you got tea." It didn't seem like Bree knew who it was about or whatever. So then they met up on camera, and the girl told Bree about it was I guess Chelsea's husband. As one of her friends seen him at the hotel that the person worked at or something like that, and Bree looked shocked in it, and then Bree did to me the right thing in that scenario. She went and told her, even though her and Chelsea aren't cool, they don't like each other at all. She went and told her because, you know, that's kind of the right thing to do, I think, in that scenario, being that you guys were together or whatever. And I feel like, you know, I don't know. I just feel like Chelsea's not even telling her husband about it. Like I just think Chelsea's very manipulative. I feel like she's even manipulating the situation.
What you mean she's not telling her husband about it?
You don't remember like the whole time she never went to her husband and like said like, "Hey, like, did this happen?" Like she just been like, I guess just, I don't know. That's just kind of weird to me. Like, I don't know. Like when that information comes to you, like you go address that person, but she's just not saying anything. But yet, you know, she's sitting there. You had Emma and Chriselle at her house, or they were at somebody's house, and she's like, "Call her right now," blah, blah, blah. Just kind of just being real, I don't know, just real mean and vindictive, man. I don't really care for Chelsea and how she carries herself and in a lot of these situations. She's very manipulative and very like just over the top. But to me, I can understand how somebody could feel that way about how she handled the situation, Bree. But to me, at least the way it was presented on TV, I don't think Bree was like, hey, yeah, oh, you got information about Chelsea and her husband? Hey, yeah, let's come to Judo on camera. Like, it wasn't presented in that way to me. I felt like it was just like, it was tea. There's always tea on the show. They always talk about do this, somebody did this, whatever. I felt like she thought it was just more tea. And then obviously the tea that came out was some pretty, sweet tea. You know what I mean? And I think that's what it was. It was the issue of what it was versus just how it was presented. You know what I mean? That's how I looked at it. So,
yeah. Okay.
What about you?
I agree with what you say, but I do think that anytime there's a reality TV show, there's a certain level of information that you just know. And it's like a mix between reality and you acting it out, right? Mm-hmm. And some of the time they are playing dumb to certain situations. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like something like marriage, cheating, children, those should be kind of like off guard. Like it shouldn't be played out on television.
I agree.
I feel like that
you think that Bree knew that before? So when they sat there and recorded, because to me that's at that time you're speculating because we don't know that.
Oh yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, but yeah. I do feel like most reality shows are set up that way. So what makes Selling Sunset different, right?
No, so I guess
it's set up to where they put you into the predicament.
Mm-hmm.
It's not always natural.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So I feel like, why would she call while they're filming to say that? How did she know that they were filming? Like, how did she get there?
No, so the way I understood it was
Amanda. I think it's Amanda. Though.
Amanda might be.
Is it Amanda?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Remember. Yeah,
but
yeah.
How did she know to call Bree while she was filming to say, "Hey, I got tea"?
I don't think that she knew to call that. Like, I don't think that was. I don't think that from my understanding, that's not the thing. The thing was, did Bree know before they sat down and recorded the girl Amanda and Bree sitting there having lunch? Did Bree already know what she was going to say? Like, that's the issue. Like, that's the part that they're having a problem with. They're saying that that Bree already knew what she was saying. And in my mind, based on how I seen Bree react and how the whole situation carried, to me, and how Bree is, how she's straightforward, blunt, like she's very not like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that she knew what the tea was. I do think that she knew it was tea, obviously, because the girl called her and said she had tea. But, to say, hey, I don't think Bree and Amanda was like, hey, yo, they had a conversation like, hey, yo, we found out Chelsea's husband is cheating on Chelsea. So let's go meet and produce and like have a whole I don't think she did that. Like, she doesn't take me as a person to do something like that. And that's what they're blaming. That's what they're saying that she do. That's what they're accusing her of.
Yeah, she doing. Doesn't, but I do feel like that there's ways to get away with that not being on camera. Just like how when Bree left last season and then all of a sudden she was back, why didn't they show how she got back? Why didn't they show that conversation?
Yeah. But I mean, to me, I feel like, and I know when they were arguing, to me, Bree brought up a good point because I'm like, I feel her like if you remember, I don't know how many seasons of the show you watched with the whole Chelsea was and Emma like, hey, you see Nick Cannon, he was out with this person, blah, 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 blah. So she was being very messy and doing the exact same type of situation on camera,
that's
right?
True.
So like, how are you now all of a sudden gonna feel when you're that? And that's the thing I don't like about people. Like, if you feel a certain way about how people handle situations, it should be like that regardless. Yeah. It shouldn't be like, hey, now that you're the victim, it looks different. And that's I don't like that. And that's how she is. Because she keeps saying these rules. She always
thought that she had a better marriage, better situation than Bree.
I'm not even talking about.
So that could be why she felt that way in the past.
Yeah, but it's just that to me, that's how Chelsea is. Yeah. Chelsea is that's why she's had little one-off issues with a lot of different women in the whole shows, because she acts a certain way when she's around certain women, and then she'll go and talk to somebody and be buddy here, and she just like really manipulative. And so to me, it kind of caught up to her.
How do you think Emma and Chriselle handled it?
I think Chriselle handled it very well.
I did too.
I think Emma didn't handle it well.
I agree.
I mean, I think that,
and I'm not Emma a fan was really, of Chriselle.
Yeah, Emma was very just like, because one-sided in the situation. I think Chriselle tried to be very diplomatic about it. Tried to hear both people because she has relationships with both people.
Yep.
And she didn't like try to lean one way or the other. She questioned stuff, went directly to them, asked the questions. And Emma was just like, whatever. You know what I mean? Just went straight to Chelsea with Chelsea. But then like Bree was like, yo, Emma, you met my kids. Like we like I thought we had something deeper than that. So for you to believe and think that I did something like that, then that tells me that we were never friends to begin with.
Yep.
And so that's how like when Bree like says stuff like that, I'm like, that to me does not take like based on what I've seen. Again, I don't know her personally, but based on what I saw and how her personality has been created on the show or whatever you want to say, she doesn't take a person to be. I don't think that she like secretly kind of set everything up and played it out like that. I don't think she did that, and that's what they're accusing her for. And I'm like, you know, and that's why she's like, well, I could have just not said nothing. Like if I knew this was going to happen, I would have just got you know the man that brought her the tea, and I'd have just would have said nothing about it. But she tried to be you know a better person about it and told her directly, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I agree. I agree. And then also, let me see what else happened on the show that was the dogs.
Oh, that was wild. It was going overboard. Like Jason kept the cry face. I mean, no disrespect. I like animals, but they was acting like boy. They was getting McDonald's and just having a real deal funeral like and crying. Had the pictures and stuff and dressed like I would just like that. But they got money, so they can do whatever they want to do.
When Jason
you know what I mean?
went and bought what was it, a Ferrari?
Yeah.
Because he was sad.
Yeah.
I said, now you know you got money when you do that. Like if I'm sad, shoot. I like to buy stuff too. Yeah. But I ain't going to buy a Ferrari. Yeah. I need to level up.
Yeah.
And it's so funny seeing Jason because he's so little and all the women that he dated when he had to when he was hugging, what was the girl? The one that doesn't, her and Chriselle don't get along. What's the girl name?
Oh, I think it's Nicole.
Yes. Mm-hmm. When she was crying about and he was behind her.
Oh yeah, like, that was yeah, he was. She walked away and he
was
did
like to her elbows.
Yeah.
Like, that's it looked very weird. And they used to date.
They did. And it's fun, like he literally dated all of these women. Amanza, her, Nicole, the girl that they had the doll together, that Mary, Chriselle, like all of these women that worked for him, he dated all of them. And that's just weird to me.
It is. It's very
that's very weird to me.
It is crazy because I don't see how it's not weird for the spouses or the people. Like Amanza, she's single. She got a thing for Trevor.
Yeah.
Noah.
Yeah.
I like Trevor too though.
I thought it was weird with just the whole dog situation, like you said, like how they were like crying and he was rubbing her leg and stuff like that, Jason was, and she's like got a whole husband over here. Like I wouldn't have been comfortable with that situation.
No. Me neither.
Like I know y'all had a dog together, but like you ain't about to be like all like crying in each other's arms and rubbing on the legs and stuff like that. Like that's unacceptable.
Very unacceptable. Ain't no way in hell. 2 hells. No, it's not happening. Yeah. At this point, I don't even want y'all sitting next to each other. I don't even know how we here, but if we gotta be here, you go sit over here next to me. Especially if y'all done some things together. Obviously, y'all have. But it is kind of a weird situation that everybody in that office, with the exception of Chelsea. Mm-hmm. Let me see. Who else? The new girl. The country girl.
Yeah. And they went out to that. Yeah, they went out to that town or whatever.
She owns the town. I thought that was pretty dope.
It's funny. Brooke showed me. I know we got to wrap up. Brooke showed me, like while we were watching it, because the girl got a whole bunch of backlash. She actually does not own that town. So like, I guess like it was funny. So Brooke showed me like we were watching it, and like I guess people were like looking up the town and looking to see who really owns it. And they found out she really don't own it. Like, it's some truth to like her family owns like a part of the town. Oh, okay. But like she don't own, like they don't own, her or her family don't own the whole town. The way she perceived it to be, like how it was, like you made it seem like she made it seem like she owned the town. And like, because bro was like asking like, so if she owns the town, like, does she like hire the police and all this? Like she was asking, I was like, and she just started kind of, we were talking about, so she just kind of started looking it up. And she's like, and people were talking about it.
How do you own a whole town?
You gotta think about it, right? Yeah, exactly, like, right? Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, how does one individual own a town? Yeah, we gotta look that up. We're gonna tell you guys how to own a town. Next podcast, we are gonna find out this information. So if you want to learn, if you want to know how to own a town, watch next week's episode.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because I do watch some shows, and like, if you live in a country town like that, most of the things that you do is by volunteer, right? You have volunteer sheriffs, you have volunteer firefighters and stuff like that. You don't really, there's nobody paying them to do those services.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
From my understanding, when it's a small town like that, that's normally how it works. Because even if, like, even from here, if I drive to, let's say, Petersburg, there's some little bitty, I guess, towns in between, and I see volunteer firefighter stations all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's true.
And those towns, I would assume, are bigger than the town that we saw on TV. But we're gonna figure out how to own your own town.
Yeah. That'll be something we'll talk about next week for sure. Yeah.
All right, guys. So I have a home buying seminar coming up this weekend. It's virtual. Find me on social media. I am Sofia KB. If you would like to sign up, I'm partnering with Rashida Mahoney. She is a real estate agent at Onyx Realty. You can find it on Eventbrite. It's this Saturday via online, 10 to 12, 2 hours. If you got questions, definitely come and check us out. We'll have a lot of good information for home buying, a lot of good information for home searching. So
cool. That's what's up.
Go sign up.
That's what's up. Yeah. This weekend coming up, I don't have anything really work related. Like I said, my son has another game. We're definitely going to Short Break Pizza. I know that's something that they've been asking. I know you had mentioned on the last week's podcast that you went during the summer, so we hadn't been in a little while. So
that should sound good.
Yeah, so we're gonna go there Saturday after his game. And then outside of that, man, what I got? Oh yeah, I got two of my buddies. They're supposed to be coming by on Saturday evening just to watch a football game. One guy I played football with in college. So he's coming by.
I think Jeremy doesn't he have an event on Friday?
He does. Yeah, he mentioned it last night because he came out to the event I had. So nice. I may try to stop past, man. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna definitely, once the election, because he told me he's gonna have like a lot of, basically almost every week he's gonna have like little stuff like this to kind of get his campaign rolling and get some attention out there or whatever. So I may miss this one just because I got so much going on that I probably wouldn't make this one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, definitely you got to pay attention to the presidential election is very important, but you also have to make sure that you are voting at your local levels, so definitely do the research. That's where a lot of the laws are set in place, is at your local levels.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys for watching the podcast. You can follow me on social media, follow the podcast at Let's Talk BS PD on social media.
Yep. You can follow me, on all social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook. It's just Bryan Royster, or Bryan _Royster on Instagram.
All right. Have a good weekend, guys.
See you next week.